Well, in this video, you're going to see the next step in the construction of my 42 by 80 foot Calhoun fabric superstructure. In a few minutes, we're going to get some trucks in here and a bulldozer, and we're going to start to fill in this form that you saw me pour in a previous video. Ultimately, there's going to be a concrete floor here, but we have to level things up first. When it comes time to raising the structure, we need something flatter than this bedrock that's pretty flat, because we're going to be working at height with lifts and things, and it's got to be pretty even surface for that. So first step will be to bring in some inexpensive, just pit run stuff that'll go in the lowest areas, and then we're going to bring in some 2-inch minus crush, so that means the largest chunks of rock are 2 inches, and there's lots of fines around it, so it can pack pretty well, and then probably a layer of road gravel on top of that, all packed down and smooth with the bulldozer. But I want you to come over here for a minute and see something that will enter the situation today. I formed this with fabric held within a wooden structure, and the top board of the form was a 2 by 10, and the top of the form is level. So our objective today is to have the compacted fill brought up to this level, where the top of the bulge. Time to bring on the trucks. I went with a local contractor, H&R Noble Construction. That's Randy Noble himself, the man there overseeing things. And this is our first load of fill. As I mentioned before, this is just pit run gravel. So they just dig it out of a deposit somewhere. Well, I call it gravel. It's actually mostly sand. You will notice that there are chunks of rock in here as well. That doesn't matter for this lower level of fill, and it is the cheapest. I think it's $17 a yard or something like that. So very inexpensive, and it's certainly going to do the job. The bulldozer, essential for this sort of thing. I was going to level it all out with my tractor and loader, but bulldozer work of this sort takes a lot of skill, actually. The man who was driving this bulldozer did a great job, as you'll see. It takes a lot of practice to take something that is so unlevel as the pile of stuff you see here now and start to make a kind of a level surface. It's a process. It starts off coarse and it gets finer and finer as the work goes on. Now this pit run sand, we're focusing mostly on putting it in the lowest areas, or the tallest area of the form, and it's the tallest because the bedrock has sloped away underneath. This is about 40 inches tall at the tallest. Now you can see some of that 2-inch minus stuff. It's quite a bit coarser, but it does have fines in it as well, so it will pack. It's not the final surface anyway, but it does provide a great foundation. When we're erecting the structure, we're going to be on lifts that extend up as much as 30 feet into the air. So you can't be driving over something that's uneven, because any side-to-side movement as you go over humps and hollows is going to make a huge difference when you're up top. So the surface has got to be pretty level and smooth, and that's what we're getting here. This is where the skill of a bulldozer driver really shines. We're getting to the final stages now. We still need a little more 2-inch minus on the other side, but this is the kind of precision that I was hoping for, and this is the result. It's ready to go, nice and smooth, more than smooth enough for the lifts. I've done it now so that if settling is going to occur, it's going to happen before it really matters. This is what the surface looks like close up. And it'll be covered more later. Well, as you can see, we got that fill brought in just in the nick of time. We're now in the middle of a full-blown Canadian winter, but I wanted to show you a few things. I'll have to dig down through the snow, but the fill was nicely leveled by the bulldozer, but it was leveled to a certain point, and that's what I want to show you now. If you remember, I formed this with a wooden frame supporting a special fabric for concrete pouring, and that left kind of pillow-like bulges where the fabric was. Looks kind of neat, actually, and it worked very well, as you can see in previous videos. But the top of those bulges were all the same height from the top of the form. So it was a very handy visual reference for the bulldozer driver to make the grade here. And you can just see that down here. There's one of the bulges starting. And I told him when he got busy here to use that as a visual aid. So the fill is pretty level all the way around. We still have quite a distance to the height of the forms, and my plan ultimately will be to pour a concrete floor here. Part of it might be heated as well, because I want to have a heated section to this for equipment and things in winter. So we've got the thickness to do that. So a little more fill to perfectly level it up, and then a couple of inches of foam insulation, and then maybe a 4 or 5 inch thick floor on top of that. So that's the plan. I won't be able to do too much here until things warm up, but there is hardware to organize. I've got to drill some holes in the legs for the ratchet straps that hold the tarp down. And you'll see all that in future videos, and we'll be back here on site when things melt and start putting some of this structure up. So see you next time.